work to do. They have started out 0-4 here in the field, losing to Auburn, Clemson, Northwestern, and UCF. They see Washington today and then LSU tomorrow. Let's take a look at our impact players heading into this game that are brought to us by Visit St. Pete Clearwater.
Yeah, I'm looking at the two leadoff hitters for these prospective teams. Abby Orrick needs to do a good job of setting the table. She's got a tough task facing Gabby Plain, one of the best pitchers in the entire country. And on the other side of things, leadoff for Washington, Sammy Reynolds is one of the hottest hitters in the entire country. She had a couple of home runs yesterday, but look at those numbers, 13 RBIs, and she's on a 10-game hitting streak.
So massive power at the top of that Washington lineup as Texas Tech gets ready to go here against one of the nation's top pitchers, Gabby Plain. So as we've had all weekend, beautiful conditions to get this game going. Texas Tech and Washington, with the release of the pitch, is underway. A strike from Plain. So as Tech looks to put some runs on the board, Orrick at the top, the only player hitting above 300 coming into this game. And Demi Elder in the number 9 spot, the freshman getting the first start of her career in the 9th game of the season for the Red Raiders. Orrick, as a freshman last year, primarily at third base, got 11 starts, came off the bench in 23 games, behind 0-2 against Plain. And she hits the inside corner, 3 pitches, 3 strikes, and sends Orrick back to the dugout.
Gabby Plain making easy work of Orrick, and you know, you're watching right now one of the best pitchers in the entire country, if not the best pitcher. Gabby Plain is a magician in the circle, in the words of our coworker Danielle Laurie. She's got a filthy drop ball. She can sprinkle in an off speed. She'll throw a rise ball in every once in a while to keep him honest, but it's her drop ball that makes her so good. It's heavy, it falls off the plate, it's got a ton of movement, and she can get the easy ground out with it, but she can also get it for a strikeout.
Well, that strikeout to start against Orrick, her 21st of the season in just 18 1/3 innings. And you mentioned Danielle Laurie. Plain came into the year needing just 37 strikeouts to move to second in Huskies history behind Laurie. Coming off of a season where she was the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year. Hamlin getting the start, her second in the first 9 games. After a year ago getting called on to start games 7 times for the Red Raiders. 2-1 from Plain. The ledger for Texas Tech outscored 31-10 over their 4 games here in Florida thus far.
I think what makes Gabby Plain so tough is that you know what she does. You know that she's got big-time strikeout numbers, 879 in her career. But the frustrating thing as a hitter is that you know what she throws. She's pretty clearly a drop ball pitcher. And despite the fact that you probably watched her film, seen her 1,000 times, she's still so tough to make quality contact off of. And it's so frustrating for opposing hitters to go see her.
Well, if the remedy were easy, certainly more people would do it. But if you're stepping in against her, what's your approach?
Well, I think you have to have really good barrel control against Gabby Plain, first and foremost. And I think a big key is that your eyes are going to deceive you. So something that's going to look like it's going to hit your mid-thigh. It's probably actually going to be closer to mid-shin level. That's how much movement she has. It's how much the ball is going to drop. And she's going to really hover around the lower half of the zone. So that barrel control component, making sure you drop your barrel, understanding that you may have to exaggerate a little bit because you think something's going to be flat and it's actually going to drop off the plate. So you have to drop your barrel down to get there.
What do you mean by exaggerate?
You know, I think a lot of the time as hitters, you feel like you're making an adjustment and you're actually making like a teeny tiny adjustment, but it feels really big because you've swung like thousands and thousands and thousands of times the same way over and over again. So when I say exaggerate, I mean you got to really overcompensate body movements to be able to hit something that has that much movement. So you can't just drop your barrel an inch. You have to drop it like 4 or 5 inches down. Angle it way more aggressively than you normally would. Because look at the movement on this pitch. I mean, she puts a level swing and she has no chance of making contact with the ball because of the plane of which that drops. You have to make sure your barrel stays on plane, and if you have a level swing, you're not going to get there.
2 strikeouts to start. Ellie Bailey is the 3rd batter of the inning. In her 2nd season with Texas Tech, last year a part-time starter after spending her freshman season of 2020 at South Carolina. So all in all, it's to make the adjustment, leaning into some discomfort.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's really hard for hitters to get outside of their comfort zone. But that's what good hitters do, is they make adjustments, and even if it feels awkward, they do it anyway.
Lane looking to polish off a 1-2-3 top of the 1st inning. And it's a grounder past Holtorf at shortstop and into shallow left center field. Bailey has a base hit after back-to-back strikeouts to start, a 2-out single.
This is a nice job by Bailey, and a good mentality is when you're facing plate is to try and get ground balls up the middle. That's a perfect way to think about being successful against her, so you can really square up your barrel up the middle. Understand that you're probably not going to elevate the ball very much with the type of pitcher that she is, and battled with 2 strikes.
Maddie Westmoreland. Now on the other side of playing behind a strikeout pitcher, you've of course got to be on your toes, but it probably can get easy to be lulled into complacency a little bit.
Oh, no doubt. There's some times where you sit a couple innings in a row and you don't see a ball leave the catcher or the pitcher's gloves.
Yeah, the biggest change might be that dandelion wasn't here when that inning started. I've just been looking down at the grass.
Yeah, those outfielders just grazing out there, checking out the party tent next door.
Ball and a strike from Plain. It's
Man, that pitch was dancing. I mean, it's got really deceptive movement, and you can see that's coming in at 58 miles an hour. It's not blowing it by anybody. It's just kind of making its own path into the strike zone.
Washington and Plain coming off a year where they went 45-14 and won their regional, bounced in supers. 2-2 is skied. In center, it's Willis. And she's got it to cap off a 2-strikeout first for Gabby Plain.
Gabby Plain making quick work of the Red Raiders. Huskies are coming up to bat.
Softball, Mizuno. After the first inning, right fielder number 10, Sammy Reynolds.
St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational, presented by Wilson, is brought to you by Visit St. Pete Clearwater, Florida, and Wilson Fast Pitch, leaders in softball innovation.
Washington has been a team for offense so far here in Clearwater as they've opened the season 7-0. Their lineup right now, batting averages look like a high school all-star team with players hitting above 600, coming in at 500 through 7 games, especially at the top here with Sammy Reynolds and Bailey Klingler 1 and 2, and Olivia Johnson hitting third, the 3 to come to the plate here in this inning. Combined for 10 home runs already. And as you talked about it, Kayla, with our players to watch in this game, it's not just one, but the power is throughout the lineup.
Yeah, and you can tell that they're so confident too. The way they carry themselves, they're disciplined hitters, but they're also swinging so strongly. They're getting to get their money's worth at the plate, which makes them very scary. And Sammy Reynolds is one of the great players on Washington, as an example of her elevating her game as she's gotten older. I mean, I remember her in the World Series as a freshman making some plays in the outfield, being mostly a slapper. She is showing off some big-time power numbers this year. She's gotten, as her career has gone on.
Last year, a perfect example is she set career highs with 12 home runs, 23 walks, scored a career high 43 runs, and ended up being named as an alternate for the USA Softball National Team. It's going to compete this summer.
That's a big accomplishment right there.
The senior from Snohomish, Washington, swings through the pitch from Carlin, the freshman, who strikes out Reynolds.
That's a great start right there from Erna Carlin. Getting the upstairs pitch going. She's got good spin. She's gonna throw a rise ball, a little curve action, screwball, can change up. But that rise ball is really her go-to.
First start for her from just outside of Houston, 8 1/3 innings so far this season.
And she throws in the low 60s too, so a similar situation. Not going to blow it by anybody. Going to really truly rely on that movement. And don't be shocked to see her throw the curveball to righties pretty often in this ball game.
So one Texan to another here with Klingler. The senior from out of Houston started her career at Texas A&M. And the team's leading hitter last year at .416, picking up where she left off, starting the day at .400.
Yeah, Klingler was a good hitter at Texas A&M, but she's really flourished at UW. And another player that's gotten better every single year, improved her power numbers. You can tell that she just fits right in with this Husky program.
leading the team here in the early going. 4 home runs, 3 of them have come during their time in Clearwater. You don't have to look much further than Reynolds and Klingler at the top of this lineup for what they've done here. Beating Tennessee 11-0 in 5. Reynolds and Klingler each drove in 3, and then a win against LSU 9-4. They combined to drive in 7, those 2. Payoff outside, ball 4. Reynolds starts with a strikeout. Klingler the full count walk to bring up Olivia Johnson.
Talk about another feared hitter in this lineup. Olivia Johnson made a splash her first weekend in the purple and gold. 3 home runs out in the Puerto Vallarta Challenge. She's just got tons of natural power. Really, really pretty swing. And it's not very often. She was intentionally walked her first weekend of softball. I mean, that's insane for a college player.
But it's earned because she became the first Washington player ever to hit home runs in each of her first 2 at-bats. I guess she just skipped the part where you get uncomfortable when you're trying something new and just jumped right in and said, no, I'm ready. Throw down to second on the stolen base try, and Klingler is out. Great throw from Grumbo to record out number 2 and clear the bases.
You can't ask for a better start if you're Texas Tech. You know, you give up the walk to Bailey Klingler, but they push you on the base pass and you drop an absolute perfect throw right on the money to get Klingler out. It's a really nice job behind the dish by Grumbo.
2-1 to Johnson. The strike makes it 2-2. The pull of the Washington program with getting Johnson out of the state of Texas, and she takes first.
Right fielder number 9, Madison Husky.
See this just clip the inside knee of Johnson.
Second base runner of the opening frame, the right fielder Maddie Husky, looks at a strike called by Ron White behind the plate. At third, Lyndon Baptiste, Alex Leap at second, and Smokey Eds is at first base for this game. Husky in her junior season last year, career high 299 at the plate, drove in 18 runs. Curves that down past the bleachers, 0-2. It was a 20-pitch top of the first for Gabby Plain. Carlin with her 22nd pitch of the inning. Husky waits with Johnson at first. Swing and a miss, strike 3. In her first start, an impressive opening inning from Erna Carlin. A couple of strikeouts and strands one. Scoreless as we go to the second.
Wilson A 2000 Fast Pitch Glove to offer elite performance with premium materials. Designing collaboration with the best players in the world. Visit Wilson.com to learn. Everything to Division I softball. Head over to D1 Softball.
If someone comes along and stands in your way, then we know just what to say. Do your thing, just do your thing. So do your thing. Do your thing, just do your thing. So do your thing.
It'll be the capper to a phenomenal weekend. Florida State, UCLA. And earlier today, Florida State meeting up with Michigan on the ACC Network. Kat Sandercock an inning out of the bullpen in relief of Watson to help seal a 2-1 Florida State victory. The Noles got a run each in the second and the third. Michigan eked one out in the sixth. Only a combined 9 hits total in that game. Great matchup as Florida State stays perfect, now 8-0 heading into their matchup Sunday night. Michigan drops to 4-4. Mike Cousins, Kayla Breaux. Here in the second, Gabby Plain in the circle for Washington. Struck out 2 in the first. And that's in the air to left. On the run, Sammy Reynolds makes the catch, 1 away.
Catcher number 21, Molly Rumbo.
I should note that you made a very prescient comment, Kayla, going into the Florida State game about Mudge. As she moved into the leadoff spot, a couple of walks and an RBI as they won by 1 run.
I'll take it. Sometimes you just get a sense when, you know, you think a player's going to do something good, and you're right.
It was a short start for Durkowski there for the freshman from Michigan. Bobian came on in relief for 2/3. Ellie Bailey had a single with 2 outs in the first inning. And here it's Molly Grumbo, the catcher, with a single back through the box.
That was a nice job by Grumbo, and we've seen so many good pitching performances this weekend. Danielle Williams had 11 strikeouts earlier today against Clemson. Holly Azevedo, Auburn was such a hot hitting team coming into that game. 10 strikeouts, only allowed 2 hits to a team that was averaging well over 7 runs a game. So kudos to the pitchers in this weekend's tournament that are showing up and showing out.
Peyton Blythe, runner at first, 1 out, takes outside. You know, we've only got so much room to highlight everybody, but we can't forget Kelly Maxwell, too, from Oklahoma State. Was part of a 4-0 win against Michigan yesterday. Took a no-hitter all the way into the 7th inning before Christina Burkhart dropped in a bloop double down the left field line to deny her a no-hitter. Ground ball to short. Holtorf up with it. Goes to second. They get 1 there, and that's it. Blythe over to first in the fielder's choice. Grumbo out at second, 2 away.
And this is what you get with Gabby playing a little spinner off the end of the bat. Just a little bit too slow of a roller to try and flip the double play. And it's so strange to watch a Washington team that doesn't have Sis Bates at the shortstop position anymore.
Alana Barraza, the junior. Scoreless, Texas Tech and Washington, top of the second. There was a good clarification you made, though, about Sis Bates not being on the roster at shortstop anyway. Now she's a student assistant. That's a Ball that comes up and in and clips Speraza. So she goes to first. Blythe up to second. On an unusual miss there from Plain.
Yeah, a little rise ball just gets away from Plain, but that's why you wear the helmet right there. Yeah, you'll find Sis Bates in the dugout. You watch Washington this season, and you know, we talked about standout freshmen that we're seeing. Well, up in the middle of this defense for Washington, you're going to see Riley Hortorf and Kinsey Fiedler, freshmen, playing the shortstop and second base position. So a lot of newbies up the middle that are going to do a lot of work for Washington because of the style of Gabby Plain and her being a ground ball pitcher. They're going to have to really step their game up because they're going to be challenged all season long to play good defense behind their All-American pitcher.
It's all part of the equation. She's in good spirits as she comes away from the meeting in the circle with 2 out, and the number 9 hitter, Demi Elder, coming to the plate here in her first start. Playing on a 1-0. Called strike 1-1. Washington this year picked second Pac-12 preseason behind UCLA. Coming off a campaign in which it was their 4th straight full season, subtract 2020 out of the mix, in which they won 45 games or more. Trying to get to 8-0 here today as they start their first of 2. Texas Tech first, and then 6 Eastern scheduled first pitch against Oklahoma State. Hatmore tossing in the Washington pen with Plain perhaps a pitch away from ending the inning. Ground ball third base. Klingler throws to first and gets Elder by a step. Watch the best do what they do. For some, that's on a sea-doo.
Mizuno is a proud sponsor of the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational. From youth players to the top players in the world, Mizuno is dedicated to creating the best softball gear for players at all levels. Be sure to stop by the Mizuno tent in the Denver area to see Mizuno's latest softball product, including the lineup of high-performance bats. When you can demo today, don't feel like getting up from your seat, and go to MizunoUSA.com on your phone to check out Mizuno's full line of softball gear. Mizuno softball for players, by players. Reach beyond. Visit St. Pete Clearwater is your official source of visitor information, and with so much to do in St. Pete Clearwater, then we suggest your first stop be visit stpeteclearwater.com. Find an inside scoop on beaches, a guide to our parks, restaurants, attractions, and events all near you. Time to start planning. Leading up for the Huskies in the bottom half of the second inning, second baseman number 20, Kinsey Fiedler.
Tomorrow night, we wrap up our coverage from Clearwater with a top 10 matchup. Number 3, UCLA. Number 6, Florida State. The game 7 Eastern coming your way on ESPN. We'll be awake for that one. We will not be snoozing 7 o'clock Eastern time. Although, hey, you know, if you got the opportunity to nap in the grass and in the sun, all things considered, life is probably going pretty well at that moment, right?
Yeah, it could be a lot
Watching
worse.
softball.
Yeah.
– 7-0 Washington, looking to be the first to get on the board here. Kinsey Fiedler, one of the top recruits in the country coming into college, pokes that foul down the right field line. Rated as the number 4 recruit by Softball America, a 2021 NFCA High School All-American. From Missouri, had originally committed to Missouri. But her junior year of high school, changed her commitment. And ended up either way, she was going to be at a great program, whether it was Missouri or with Washington.
It's just one of the 3 freshmen on this Washington team that gets to play on the junior national team. And Coach Heather Tarr is the head coach of the U.S. national team, and she loves that her young players are getting to experience international softball, get some work experience, and better themselves. She saw improvement from them from the time they were in high school to the time that they started up in 2022 with the Huskies because of that experience.
Well, there's such great value to that, whether it's the softball aspect or getting to do the international travel portion of it.
Yeah.
And getting something outside of your regular and seeing something totally different.
Right off the camera. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And one of the biggest things she said that they learned during that time was some of the mental approaches of this game. And that's one of the tougher things is, yes, there's a complete adjustment physically when you enter the college game, but the mental wear and tear it takes to be a really good college hitter is more grinding sometimes than the physical.
Would you say it involves, perhaps to borrow a phrase from Ted Lasso, being a goldfish a little bit and having a short memory?
Yeah, absolutely, it's being a goldfish, yeah. I think that the players that have the ability to let an at-bat go and stay consistent and stay the course are going to be better off in the long run. If you let one bad at-bat bleed into the next, that's when you're in trouble.
Has anybody made a shirt? You know, there's the guy on the team who says football is life. Is there a shirt that says softball is life?
No, we should make one, Danny Rojas.
Yeah, we should, because I remember, at least I saw it promoted by our buddy Amanda Scarborough, the shirt that said, I have softball.
I think we should just make it, yeah, softball is life. You can't, softball.
I'm down.
But I feel like can't softball is like, I'm too busy because I just have softball. But like softball is life is, it's a completely different mentality. It's a lifestyle. It's who you are.
It's a vibe, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vandegrift in her second start, down a strike, lays down the bunt, and she's put out by Orrick at first base. Fiedler up to second, with Washington threatening to score the first run.
Center fielder number 66, Sarah Willis.
Up next, Sarah Willis for the Huskies. Ball gets by Grumbo, to the backstop, and there's not a lot of room to operate with back there, but it's enough space that Fiedler comfortable to advance to third.
Yeah, for Texas Tech, these are the little things that they're going to learn as this season goes on, and how you can turn some of your losses into wins is not letting those little mistakes happen. You know, Washington's good enough on their own offensively, but when you give them free passes, it just feeds them. Kind of like the give somebody an inch, they'll take a mile. That's what those mistakes do. You just made it that much easier for them to pick up a run.
And the difficulty factor then getting back to the plate going against Gabby Plain gets multiplied by magnitudes there to make it even more challenging. And Texas Tech trying to find its identity, trying to find its first win here in Clearwater, coming off of a 21-26 campaign last year as they went up to third place in the Big 12 tournament, starting with a win over Texas. It was a walk to start the inning. That's how Fiedler got on base and how Willis reaches as well. First and third, one out. Here in the bottom portion of the lineup, Brooke Nelson, the first baseman, due up next.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. This is a team that's trying to figure out who they are. You know, in the offseason, they dealt with a lot of people transferring in and out. A lot of new pitchers, a lot of new position players. So trying to get a feel for each other, figure out who fits where. And sometimes that takes some time. You know, they try to scrimmage a lot to prepare for that, but there's nothing like going and facing a top 10 team to teach you something about yourself.
It's an overwhelming number of new faces between 6 transfers, 7 freshmen. Washington still looking for its first hit. Carlin struck out 2 in the first. They've had 3 walks and a hit batter. Two, foul back.
Get the good one right here. Go get it. Grab on somebody. Go, Ford. Go get him. Go get him.
Test in the circle for the freshman Carlin against the junior Nelson. A Washington legacy, her dad a football player for the Huskies. 2 on and the 2-2. Wasted away again with a good cut.
And Carlin's working in the circle right now, trying to mix it up. You've seen her sprinkle in an off-speed pitch in the mid-50s. That last pitch was about 64, 65 miles an hour. So she's trying to change up some speeds, change up locations. Brooke Nelson proving to be a tough out at this at-bat, though.
Not a conventional stat line for Carlin, but she's managed to keep the Huskies off the board so far. From a team that did nothing but score over its first 2 games here. The 8th pitch will bring a 9th. The battle continues. The freshman Carlin draws a pop-up to second base via the grab, 2 down. Oklahoma State, Washington's next opponent, taking on USF. And Alexis Johns, majoring in risk management at USF, managed this risk. A bases clearing triple out to the left center field wall. And the bottom of the 5th inning, it's USF 5, Oklahoma State 1.
USF had a big-time win against Michigan last weekend. Trying to get another top 25 win this week against Oklahoma State.
The Bulls
You gotta always be ready.
4-1. They beat Notre Dame yesterday, ahead on Oklahoma State. They'll see Auburn and Wisconsin tomorrow as well, before they get back home and host their own tournament. And they too, as we're seeing one of the best power conference pitchers in Gabby playing in this game, USF in the American Conference has one of the best pitchers, Georgina Corrick, as well.
Yeah, Corrick just set the all-time strikeouts record for her conference as well. So she's super talented, really, really strong in the circle. And USF's a tough team that could, potentially go to a regional and upset somebody.
0-2 pitch goes upstairs on Holtorf as Carlin created a jam here with a couple of walks and a wild pitch, but could well work her way out of it.
Yeah, and the pitch that's looked really good this inning is the changeup. She's going to have to use that continuously throughout this game and throw it for a strike.
And she gets the strike at the knees, and that retires the side. Her 3rd strikeout in the first 2 innings, and we're scoreless going to the 3rd in Clearwater.
Where the tournament is, make sure to check. Back in beautiful, sunny Clearwater, Florida. Mike Couzens along with Kayla Bro, the 2012 national champion and All-American at Alabama. Throw out the odds, I suppose, because if you come into this game with a Texas Tech team, a freshman starter in the circle that had gone 0-4 thus far, and a Washington team that had scored 20 runs in its first 2 games, you would have said scoreless going into the 3rd. No way, and yet, that's what we have here as we go top 3. And Texas Tech goes to the top of the order. Their best hitter so far in the young season, Abby Orrick, who struck out against Gabby Plain in the 1st inning.
Yeah, not only is the score still knotted at 0, but Texas Tech is actually out-hitting Washington today so far in the game. It's early, but hey, that's where we're at.
Olivia Johnson gets her shoelace scenario squared away as Plain gets ready. 33 pitches through the first 2 innings, 20 in the first and 13 in the second, as she has struck out 2. fascinating part of the way that Heather Tarr talked about their year last year, where they went to Norman for supers and ended up losing against Oklahoma, was that they said they went on a run late last year where they felt like they could win the conference, and because of that ended up using Gabby Plain for a lot more innings than they might have otherwise. And that's the conundrum, I suppose, of having a star, is you can do that if you want to. There's Oric retired by Reynolds and left, but it's sometimes at the expense of other players getting into the lineup. But it's a choice that you only can really know what the result is going to be in retrospect and how it turns out, because it's with your gut feeling sometimes easy to say, all right, go get it day after day.
Yeah, it's really tough because you want to win and compete in every single game that you play in, and there's a lot of times that teams and coaches feel that their best chance of winning or beating someone is throwing their ace out there, and you crave that victory every day and you want to give your team the best chance to do it. But that being said, when you ride your ace too long, you risk injury and fatigue and wear and tear as the season continues. But on the other end, you might get to the postseason and somebody got a really good scouting report on a pitcher and they're teeing off on her, and you don't have a number 2 that you can really go in and trust that has that confidence to face top opponents. So there's definitely a balance there that coaches and players have to figure out. You know, and that being said, on the other side of things, that there's times where players have absolutely no problem being the ace, carrying the load, and getting the bulk majority of the innings, and they do fine.
And in the first game that you and I watched this morning, as Northwestern defeated Clemson, you saw that, you know, Valerie Cagle the day prior had pitched a ton of innings between their 2 games. So she only started as the DP. And when you have a pitcher as good as she is, there's bound to be some drop-off between number 1 and number 2, as they ended up losing 7-0 against the Wildcats out of the Big Ten.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we move on, as softball gets better, as we get more information, more games are on TV, it's just getting harder and harder to be a true ace, and that's it. You're seeing more and more times these coaches are creating staffs, especially with the transfer portal, as you're able to go and pluck some pitchers when you need them. Trying to get more depth as you manage these really, really potent offenses.
Lane strikes out Hamlin looking. She's come to the plate twice, struck out twice.
It's a little simple drop ball in the outside corner that just freezes up Hamlin. And that's one pitch that you got to kind of be a little bit grittier at the plate with. 2 strikes. You got to try and put a barrel on that, foul it off at least. You can't go K looking in that situation.
Bailey's got one of the Texas Tech hits. Bases are clear for her with 2 outs. The explosion of softball on TV only gets bigger this year too, as ESPN is going to carry more than 2,000 softball games this year across linear networks, digitally as well. It's year number 5 of the 7 Innings podcast, of which you're a part of the team there. And then something new this week too, very cool. The Thursday Night Throwdown beginning April 14th. Thursday nights on ESPN2. Starts off in the Pac-12, as a matter of fact. Oregon visiting Arizona.
Yeah, we're just growing the game left and right, and it is so cool to see. It's so fun to be a part of. And, you know, I'm biased, but I really do think it's one of the best sports you can watch on TV. And I think the combination of, you know, the home run ball, the incredible pitchers and young women that we get to see in the circle, it is a really good product to watch week in and week out.
It moves fast. The action is consistent. The talent is top-notch. The games are fun. And still on my bucket list to make a trip to Oklahoma City in June, the first week of June, to go and see what that is, what that has become really as well. You know, as last year, I had the pleasure of working with the director of the NFCA, Carol Bruggeman, our colleague, and getting to hear her historical perspective of decades in coaching and around the game, of the way that has grown. And it's just so incredible.
Yeah, I took my first trip to Oklahoma City in 2011 when I was a sophomore, and even just 11 years ago. And to think about how much it's grown, and now the stadium's doubled in size, and the TV presence is like 3 times as big as it used to be.
3-2, smoked out to left by Bailey. She's got Plain's number here in the early going. 2 for 2 with a couple of singles taken out that way.
Yeah, she's seen something from Gabby Plain that she can feel like she can get a good barrel on. And you know, Bailey's got a really simple swing, and so she's not trying to do too much. You can tell she wasn't really swinging for the fences. Neither of her hits have been, you know, the hardest shots off the barrel, but they're getting the job done. Even that pitch, it's outside, it's a little bit elevated, the key being elevated, hooks around it. But again, it's a base hit, she'll take it.
Plain retired Westmoreland to end the first inning. And the Arizona native, former Indiana Hoosier, disappears that one for a long strike. So Plain coming up on 50 pitches. Looking for her 4th strikeout and trying to hold Texas Tech scoreless through 3 trips to the plate. And 0-2 to the 5th year. Right back to the circle. Plain's got it. Yossi takes care of it, no problem. She gets another strikeout. Huskies coming to the plate, bottom 3.
They can be identified through the facilities, throughout the facilities, by their green shirts and hats, and without them and their help, this event would not be possible. Thank you, volunteers. Run the game this season with Meta, a new game-changing fast-pitch bat from Louisville Slugger. Learn more and customize your favorite bat at slugger.com. Hey fans, be sure to hit up the Visit St. Pete Clearwater booth for a fun photo opportunity and prizes. Register for your chance to win a chair, perfect on the beach or softball fields. And while there, catch an inside scoop on our award-winning beaches, unique craft breweries, and world-class museums.
With games going on every field, there's lots of action to be had. Notre Dame and LSU. High-scoring affair. Peyton Tidd not only got the job done in the circle for the Fighting Irish, but she also went deep in this game. Her and Abby Sweet connecting on home runs as they win 8-6 over LSU. Tennessee, meanwhile, taking on UCF. And in that game, Volunteers get on top 1-0 in the first. They put another run on the board in the third. And in the final 2 frames, score 4 runs to break a 2-2 tie and win it 6-2. Our upcoming schedule brought to you by Wilson, featuring these very Washington Huskies. They'll see Oklahoma State tonight, 6 Eastern, here on this field, ESPN+. Tomorrow, a great matchup against Clemson, 10 Eastern on ESPNU. She's on the ESPN app. We just know. She wants to know what's going on field 1.
Yeah, what else would she be doing? I mean, that's it. She's got to check the scores. see what's going on around the country.
To quote Four Non-Blondes, what's going on? That's what she wants to know. Bottom third begins with Riley Holtorf. She's the only player in either lineup who has yet to take a hack at the plate. Beg your pardon? I need to know what's going on. It's Sammy Reynolds back at the top of the lineup. Well, there goes the perfect game. Blew it in the third. And to think I'd had a perfect weekend going before this too.
Yeah, you just really let us all down there, Mike. Now we'll see what Washington does second time through the lineup. It's going to have to be some adjustments, which we really haven't had to say much about Washington thus far in the tournament because they've been so dominant from, you know, inning one on.
Somebody. Take your feet, get in there, kid.
Fifth time in 11 batters that Carlin has gone to a 3-ball count. And 10 batters, beg your pardon. She comes back to earn her way to 3-2.
Sammy Reynolds took a hack on that last pitch. Carlin gave that ball a little jump on it, swung underneath it.
Trying to overpower her way to a third strike. And misses inside, putting Reynolds aboard. So the 3-ball counts have been problematic for Carlin because that's the 4th walk. And now this is the Washington power alley in the lineup.
Come in one, Demi.
Klingler tops among the group with 4 home runs.
You know, on that last at bat, I like the idea from Carlin trying to go upstairs, get Sammy Reynolds on a pitch that she previously swung and missed on, but just working it a little higher. But that one's way too far inside. And because of that, you're not going to bait Sammy Reynolds to swing at that. It's not even close. So it's just an easy walk for her. And if she could fine-tune that pitch, then you're potentially going to have that strikeout versus that walk in the future.
Started the second with a walk and ended up stranding 2 Huskies. Their expectation with what they've done in 2 games, 20 runs, will be to convert those free passes into runners crossing the plate. She got under the 3-2. Villa out, Elder in. Who's got it? And the second baseman, Villa, camps underneath, reaches back for the first out.
Work for another one right here. Drop off somebody. Drop off somebody. Ready, 2-1.
Johnson took a pitch off of her right knee in her first plate appearance. The next opponent for Washington is going to be Oklahoma State. Later on today, they're in battle with USF right now. Swing and a miss. There goes Reynolds. She's into second as the ball gets into center field, and she's got the stolen base.
That was another nice throw from Grumbo.
So USF against Oklahoma State started the scoring with 1 in the second. Their big inning, a 4-run 4th inning, and then 2 more in the 5th. That game top 6 right now with Cork in the circle for the Bulls. They lead 7-1. Cork has allowed only 3 hits to the Cowgirls. So whatever the outcome of this game ends up being for Washington, look out, because they're going to face a team that has had it handed to them so far through 5 innings by USF. Beautifully located pitch by Carlin. She notches the 4th strikeout here in the 3rd inning and has 2 down with a runner in scoring position.
Carlin's doing a really nice job in this game. Freezes up Johnson on the outside corner of the plate, little curveball. But despite the fact that she's given up 4 walks, I think she's rebounded really well. She's kept herself composed. She's gone and tried to attack these Husky hitters. You know, she hasn't been perfect, but she's limiting the damage and not letting walks hurt her so far.
Maddie Husky's got Reynolds ready to scamper around 3rd and score if she can put down a base hit.
This pitch, go get it. Good circle.
Neither of their first 2 games were they held scoreless in each of the first 2 innings. In fact, against LSU, they had a 6-run 2nd inning. Well, back-to-back frames where Carlin issues a leadoff walk. No problem for the freshman. She brushes off her shoulders as we go to the 4th.
From the sugary white sands of Clearwater Beach, voted the #1 beach in the U.S. by TripAdvisor, to glittering nightlife and world-class restaurants, is number 0, the second baseman.
Well, it was Nas who once said, never on schedule, but always on time. And that's where the Huskies are trying to get offensively. You've got a senior on one side in the circle, Gabby Plain, a freshman on the other side with Erna Carlin. And a scoreless duel heading into the 4th. Ariana Villa leads it off for Texas Tech.
You know, after hearing from Coach Tar, I think something that sticks with me that she mentioned is that it's good for them to be challenged a little bit. You know, when you have a ton of success, that's great, and you want to continue that for the rest of the year. But the reality is you're not going to go score 9 runs in every single game that you play in a season. So, you know, learning the skills to be able to communicate effectively with your team, make some adjustments, is going to fare really well when you go play UCLA, Arizona, and Oregon in back-to-back weekends in the Pac-12, and it's a grind. And, you know, you have half your team in a little bit of a slump, and you're trying to dig your way out of it. So these tournaments are important, and that's why Coach Tar schedules this. It's to strengthen yourself for the Pac season. And then also she mentioned that You know, they felt really disrespected last year getting the 16 seed, and it was strength of schedule that was weak. They weren't able to travel as much with COVID precautions, and they're making sure that that is not the case this season.
Plains 1-2, grounded foul, third base side.
Battling up there. Win this one.
If you'll allow perhaps a little bit of a stretch for the analogy, what she was talking about is kind of like being an investor in the stock market during a downturn. You've got to be able to ride out the lows to then enjoy the highs. And like you said, you're not going to score 9 runs in every game. You know, there's the little fine print at the bottom of stuff that we all just throw in the trash, or if it's on your computer, you just click next until it's gone. But the fine print for that would be past performance does not necessarily predict future results. So you're going to have to grind out those 1-0, 2-0 games.
Yeah, no doubt. Because you drop knowledge. Yeah, and you gotta stay in the stock market, right? You can't just bail out when things get bad. You know, you have to stay in, keep grinding, keep working, and you're gonna wait until somebody comes out of slump, something good happens. Because that's gonna make the rise to the top, the trip to the Oklahoma City, even sweeter when you can kind of dig through adversity and go from lower lows to higher highs.
I see what you're thinking there. The ride to the top, to the moon, if you will. Lane starts off the fourth with her 4th strikeout.
Catcher number 21, Molly Humble.
Yeah, Gabby Plain going back again, bread and butter right here. Little drop ball in the inside corner, freezes it up. And you know what's so interesting about this pitch? It's coming in, it looks like it's about knee high, pops right in. And she can get that thing to stay right on the edge of the strike zone.
Grumbo sends Reynolds on the run, and a reaching, leaping grab pre-tarp is good for out number 2.
Center fielder number 23, Peyton Boyd.
We're sitting around a volcano that's smoking right now, waiting for one of these teams to erupt. Who will have a Vesuvian half inning to make something happen? Three hits for Texas Tech. So far, none for Washington through 3 trips to the plate.
Is Vesuvian a word? I mean, I know it's a mountain, but did you create that word? Did you just make that up on the spot, or is that a common saying that I just missed out on all these years?
It depends how many geologists you're friends with, I think, that whether you believe that to be a word. Although, I will say this. I did not know that it was in the dictionary, but it is in the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Wow.
Of or relating to or resembling the volcano Vesuvius. Number 2, marked by sudden outbursts. So if you had to learn one new thing every day, you did that with, you know, you're in the Pacific time zone. You did it with like 12 hours to spare. Look at you. You don't have to learn anything else the rest of the day.
Yeah, but today was a win, no matter what happens the rest of the day now.
Win
I've
the
gotten
day.
smarter.
That goes upstairs on Plain, and she walks Peyton Blythe. 2-out free pass. How do you evaluate Plain's performance through 3 2/3?
I mean, I think she's been solid so far. I mean, she's putting up a 0 on the board, 1 walk, only a couple base hits sprinkled here and there. That's not bad. I mean, that's what you expect out of somebody like a Gabby Plain. And the most important thing is that she's allowing her offense to stay in this ball game. You know, they haven't come to the plate yet today and produced runs for her, but she's doing her job and keeping the score the same.
Plain came into this game 3-0, having worked 18 innings and allowed 7 hits. Her 3 hits across 3 2/3. Alana Barraza, the shortstop, was hit by a pitch. Her first plate appearance. Takes a pitch about eye level. Drops it onto the grass in front of Sammy Reynolds. The 4th Texas Tech hit. And they've got a runner in scoring position for just the 2nd time.
Yeah, and you know, you got to give credit to Texas Tech. When Gabby Plains elevated the ball a little bit, they've taken advantage, and Barraza does that right there. It's a pitch, rise ball, that she just climbs up the ladder right with Gabby Plain with her barrel, stays on it, and pokes it out to left field.
So Blythe at second, Barraza at first. Elder, the right fielder, number 9 hitter. She ended up grounding out to third her first time up, but it was a well-contested at-bat for Elder.
For Elder, this is one of those at-bats, you're a freshman, this at-bat could make you a lot better. You go and have a quality AB against Gabby Plain, who is a grad senior, has all the experience in the world, and you're just getting your feet wet, and you can go challenge her. That could build your confidence and make a lot of difference in your career early on.
Especially with the opportunity to put a run on the board. And that ends up foul, about 5 feet from home plate. So it's 1 and 2. So she'll have to be on alert and give an offer to anything that's near the edges of the plate.
Yeah, and something to key in here, if you're a base runner for Texas Tech, you got to make sure that you get on your horse, because with the style of pitcher that Gabby Plain is, and you got to slap her up at the plate, you're most likely going to get something on the ground in the dirt. So making sure you get a really good jump so you don't induce an easy force out. Make them make the out at first.
A 1-2 pitch, just gets a piece.
And the other thing I'm thinking, if I'm Peyton Blythe on second base, I'm going to take a big old jump, get a big lead off of second base, because anything in the outfield, I need to be thinking score, 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 because my opportunities might be really limited against Gabby Plain.
Scoreless in the top of the 4th, Texas Tech and number 5 Washington. It's 3 and 2 with a base open for Plain.
It's a nice take right there. That ball starts low enough, and you know she's going to keep getting lower and lower. So you see something like that, and you let it go by. It's a nice job.
Two down, 3-2. And Plain goes up the ladder to get the strikeout and best the freshman. She strands 2. Zeros on the board, bottom 4 next. Hey, Sammy, can you hear us?
I sure can.
Hey, this is
Hey,
Mike Cousins and Kayla Bro. We're just in commercial. We'll be back in like a minute, and we'll get going.
All right, sounds good.
Texas Tech, Washington, no score, bottom 4. It's been an exciting game so far. Sammy Ward, the head coach of Texas Tech. Let's talk about Erna Carlin, the freshman in the circle, getting the start. And she's gotten into some jams and gotten out of them so far. What has impressed you about her start today?
Erna does a really good job. I mean, she's got really good spin, and it's a little bit unpredictable in all the right ways. So she's using that to her advantage right now.
Leading off for Washington to the bottom half of the
Coach, you guys are having some quality at-bats against Gabby Plain, such a tough pitcher. What are you telling your team in the dugout to potentially push them a little bit over the hump to get that run across the board?
Our main message right now is just to stay stubborn to our plan, our approach, and just commit to it fully. So I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. We can continue doing better. But I like where we're at right now. We feel pretty good.
Coach, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, that was a fun turn of phrase. Unpredictable in all the right ways, which, from your perspective as a hitter, got to throw you into a fit, right?
Let's go get it.
So last of the fourth, as the Huskies look to put together some offense. They have been held hitless so far. Opportunities have been there on the base paths. They've drawn 4 walks, but nobody has been able to capitalize.
Take it. Go back 1, 2.
It's Fiedler, Vandegrift, Willis. 5, 6, 7 for the purple and gold, bottom 4. 70th pitch from Carlin is ball 2 to the second baseman.
This pitch, go get this one.
You and I, Kayla, have watched a lot of softball already this weekend and seen a lot of runs scored. This is the first game that has really gone along like this that we've seen. And here's some offense as Fiedler takes a crack at this, drives it out to right field. It's into the glove of Elder as she tumbles over the wall.
Wow. Kinsey Fiedler, first and foremost, gets the green light on the 3-0 pitch. But talk about the defense here. Going back, camping under it with the temporary fence, and is able to hang on to this ball. Wow.
Out of her jurisdiction to still make the catch, thanks to the tension and support from the temporary fence there.
To be quite honest, I was a little hesitant because part of me, you know, is curious if you land on the other side of the fence if you land on the other side of the fence before you catch it, I don't know if that's an out. But because she caught it when she was kind of mid-air on the fence, I mean, she robbed it.
And during the normal college season, that's not a scenario we're encountering because you've got solid surface walls to stop that ball. Otherwise, she'd probably have to jump 9 feet off the ground to make the grab in front of the fence before it went over the wall.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a play that's unique to playing at more of a tournament-style stadium and having, like you said, no permanent fence, a little temporary mesh fence out there. But again, give credit to Elder because she hung in there, she stayed with it. She did a really nice job of making sure she followed through with the catch as she was falling over with that temporary fence that gives you absolutely no support. It's very jarring to be an outfielder and go run into it because you think you're going to stop because you play with a hard fence all the time, but your momentum just keeps carrying, and you drift, and then you end up falling. You see your cleats in the net. But again, she hangs on, and she is stoked to keep this run, to keep the run off the board.
She stepped back in like she was coming back into the squared circle. Like, let's go, I'm ready for the battle. Scoreless game, and I helped keep it that way. You know, they call the warning track in baseball and softball the warning track because it's warning the outfielder that they're approaching the fence. No such warning here other than, uh-oh, gravity is taking its toll as I tumble over and through the fence. Carlin's worked her way to a full count, and the payoff is wasted away by Vandegrift. The only warning is no entry.
Yeah, no entry.
If Texas Tech hangs on to win this game, they need to go out and spray paint on the other side of the fence. No exit for balls that are hit this way. Washington's got a base hit. Vandegrift went full count, and it's a one-out single.
Number 66, Sarah Willis.
That first hit of the day for Washington, just a little slap, try and get things going. And it is going to be interesting to see as they approach the bottom half of their lineup, going through the second time and then turning it over to the top for the third. If we're going to see some adjustments. Coach Tar mentioned, you know, timing has been an issue for this team today. And, you know, somebody like Megan Vandegrift being a slapper is a really, really great way to offset that timing, because a lot of times the slappers with their movement running through the box, they time the ball up a little bit differently than somebody that's static and hits in the box. So that's why you put slappers in the lineup, to break up the same, just swinging away over and over again.
Check.
And checking in on the next opponent for Washington as well. It's top 7 right now between South Florida and Oklahoma State, number 7 team in the country, 7-1 in favor of USF. With Georgina Korick 2 outs away from a complete game victory in which she has already struck out 6. The lone run in that game for the Cowgirls, a Cheyenne Factor 4th inning solo home run.
Yeah, it's saying nobody's safe. Yeah, you always got to be ready. This tournament's a grind for a reason. It's because every single game you just face a new tough opponent. And you know, something that else is unique to a tournament like this is you really don't scout the same way you would a 3-game series. So, you know, you're kind of going blind in a lot of ways when you face some top pitchers. This is a classic example. I'm sure Washington really had no film on Carlin. They have no idea what she throws. They're going in, and they've got to make adjustments in game because they don't have that scouting report on her yet. She's a freshman, and it's too early in the year for a ton of film.
There's an element of that sounds fun, and then there's another part that sounds really nerve-wracking too.
It's kind of freeing, honestly, to not have a scouting report. Just say, you know what, I'm going to go and see what I see. You don't have any preconceived notions in your head. You don't really go up with that strong of a plan until you see a few pitches, and then you just react and you let your natural ability take over.
Two, out to right again. Elder has already worked magic once, and she makes that grab. Her throw back, a double play to end the inning. Put a star on that frame and put a crown on Demi Elder out in right field. The freshman's first start, and what an inning for her out there in right.
Demi Elder, not 1 but 2 big-time plays. She goes to her glove side and makes the throw all the way for the big-time double play. Red Raiders feeling good.
Leading off for the Red Raiders in the top half of the fifth inning. Top of the order, third baseman number 11, Abby Ulrich.
Ogunbowale for the win! National champion!
Dynasty fulfills its destiny.
The great upset in history!
Women's Hoops Tournament, always a good time, as is this weekend. We welcome you back to the 2022 St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational, presented by Wilson. Washington, the high-scoring team coming into this one. Texas Tech in Clearwater has been winless thus far. Defense and pitching has carried the day. Gabby Plain back in the circle. She struck out 5. Starts the 5th against the top of the order here. So the contrast has been quite stark with 20 runs in 2 games, and their first hit came last inning. Use the words, Kayla, nobody is safe, and I think it's the folly of ever trying to have a good idea of a way a game is going to play out, because how many times have we looked at the scoreboard this weekend and gone, what? I did not see that coming.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, you know, there's so much dependent on the pitching matchups and who's starting that day. And a lot of things have to go right to win a ball game. So that's what makes the sport fun, though. I think it's unique. Everybody's always on upset alert. And you can have a bad game and get beat by anybody on any day. And that's a really powerful thing, because as you can see in a game like this, you have a freshman in the circle going toe-to-toe with Gabby Plain for Texas Tech. And here we are in the 5th inning, and they're battling. And you wouldn't ever thought about that on paper. And as you know, we saw Elder make those 2 catches out in the outfield and ending the inning with the double play. You can feel the shift of momentum, and you can feel the excitement out of the Red Raiders dugout and how much they are now into this game. And that's so much better than where they've been in the last 4 games, because they were coming off of a losing streak where they haven't won a game in this tournament yet. And here they are against Washington, probably playing their best softball that they've played all weekend.
Plain, nonchalant. Texas Tech started their season at the Houston Invitational. They saw UTSA twice, Houston twice, and won both against the Roadrunners, split with the Cougars. And here they lost by 6 to Auburn, 8 to Clemson, 3 to Northwestern, and 4 to UCF. So this right now the closest game that they've played in about a week. Top of the order, though, for the Red Raiders, quiet thus far. Orrick, with that ground out, is 0 for 3. Hamlin here on the number 2 spot has struck out twice, 2 of the 5 strikeouts from Plain.
Yeah, Ellie Bailey's been the most successful hitter in the 3 spot for Texas Tech today, and she's going to come up. And what you want with her hitting as well as she is, and seeing Gabby Plain as well as she has, you want somebody on board to try and give her an RBI opportunity.
Two identical looking pitches where Hamlin swings and misses. Count even 2-2.
Yeah, and the way that she's moving through the box, she's not going to be able to hit that pitch that's staying on the outside corner. Just too much of her body and her momentum starting to peel towards first base as a slapper, and keep your barrel on the plane of that pitch longer and through to the opposite field longer.
Lane wanted to see if she could go 3 for 3 there.
And she should have. She threw it a little bit further outside, off the plate, not a strike. That's exactly what you want. Hoping to get a chase out of Hamlin.
There's the thrill of the high-scoring game, of which there have been plenty around the Eddie C. Moore complex in Clearwater this weekend. But perhaps the unmatched excitement of a scoreless game like this into the later innings, where one swing or one fence-defying catch can change the game. And Plain deals her second walk.
And in a game like this, where you have a number 5 ranked team and an unranked opponent, there's this point in a game where, you know, Texas Tech goes in. Obviously, they're there to compete. They're playing hard, but there's a point in a game where there's a belief that you can win the game, and you get those plays from Elder, the double play, the robbed home run, and all of a sudden you start to believe, oh, maybe we can. We're close. We're right there. We're hanging with them. So if they scratch a run across, you know, you're only going to increase their belief level. And this is exactly what they want. They want a low-scoring game. They don't want to match offensive punches with Washington if it was a high-scoring game. You just want it to stay right there, have a potential at the end to go and win it.
Bailey's production matches what the rest of the team has done. Texas Tech with 4 hits to Washington's 1. The thought about a bunt, runner in motion, and Hamlin is safe at second. She swipes the bag. Somebody was going to make an aggressive move. The Red Raiders do it first.
That's right. I like that, too. I like the aggression. You have nothing to lose in this game. You're playing an opponent that's ranked higher than you. And she barely sneaks in. That's a great call, safe right before the tag. And I also like, you know, you got a freshman catcher behind the plate. Go ahead and challenge her, make her throw you out. And like
the way
mentioned,
you said,
who you want to.
The way you said you like to steal bases, straight line, point to point. If she goes to the front side of the bag, though, there, you think she's out?
I think if she clips, as long as she clipped the back side, she would have been fine. And what I mean, I guess, when I say that is a lot of players will kind of like do like either a head first slide like around the bag, or they'll slide way wide and they'll try and clip the back of the base with their hand. But she went in with her feet, so it wasn't as efficient as we saw from Evans, who's a speedy player for Oklahoma State, but it was close.
Trying to go around the back of the bag, there's always the danger of the overslide, and then you get tagged out there.
Ooh, that's a good take. Pitch is close. And Gabby Plain's got a little smile on her face. It's a good pitch, good location. Just didn't get Ellie Bailey to nibble at it. And there's some umpires that will call that pitch, and we haven't seen it called much today, but there is a few that she'll get that call from.
Two-two. She chases the ball in the dirt. And the strikeout recorded on the throw down to first base. Hamlin scampers over to third.
Plain throws this ball. No chance for Bailey to swing it, to hit that. It's not the pitch that she's looking for. Maybe a little bit too aggressive in that situation. Still able to advance JC Hamlin all the way to third base, and again pushes a runner closer to scoring.
So base hit gives Texas Tech the lead. Plain sits at 88 pitches. Now 6 strikeouts. She's gotten 4 on the ground and 4 through the air.
Do a job here, 4-1. Here we go. Stick to your plan here. Stick to your plan.
Maddie Westmoreland, the cleanup hitter. Aggressive going for the first pitch, knowing what's at stake here.
Yeah, you like that hack. Said it a few times, but you just have nothing to lose. Go out, get your money's worth at the plate. If you see something that's in your wheelhouse early in the count, take a hack. Why not? If you connect it, score a run.
Come on, Maddie.
And the game is final with Washington's next opponent, Oklahoma State,
Here, Maddie. Let's go. Win it.
falls 7-1 at the hands of South Florida.
Here. Let's go.
Scheduled first pitch for that game, 6 Eastern, ESPN Plus. Top 5 scoreless. Tech trying to change that. 0-2 grounder to third, and the inning is over. Plain works around the 1-out walk and the stolen base. 4.5 in the books.
Find it. Find it. That kid. Find it. That kid. Come on, put it down out there. Find it. Find it. Find it.
A pitcher's duel of sorts between Texas Tech and Washington. On one side, it's Erna Carlin, the freshman in the circle for the Red Raiders. Gabby Plain on the other. And we've got to respect our elders. The freshman Elder in right field for Texas Tech robs a home run, and then just a couple batters later, tracks down the ball near the fence, whips it back into first for an inning-ending double play. And Gabby Plain has been up to her usual tricks.
Yeah, she's making the ball move on the lower half of the zone, working the drop ball, sprinkling in a rise every once in a while, a little off speed, but Texas Tech has had limited opportunities, hasn't been able to push a run across the board yet. Gabby Plain's so tough.
And Washington with just 1 hit as we look at our game track presented by Wilson. The Huskies only hit a Megan Vandegrift single last time up in the 4th. And then you saw that double play. That was a line drive off the bat of Sarah Willis out toward right. And that's been the extent of the offense off the bat for Washington. Although they have been walked 4 times. So opportunity on the base pass. We saw Texas Tech get a little bit aggressive there with a stolen base by Hamlin. And this inning starts with Brooke Nelson, the first baseman, who's 0 for 1. reliably edge of your seat type game. The Big 12 meets the Pac-12. Is it like Rookie of the Year where everybody's going to start chanting to throw it back?
Henry Rowan Gardner.
Give him the cheese, the Limburger. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Good chase pitch there for Carlin's 5th strikeout.
Yeah, Carlin is doing excellent against this tough Washington lineup. And what an experience for her as a freshman to be able to go out and face these elite type hitters. We can see a little curveball move on this. It breaks away, and she takes a little speed off of it too. I think that's what's challenging and something that this Washington team just really hasn't been able to get good contact in, is because there's a slight speed change. They haven't been on time as much. And the defense is making plays too, it helps.
So Holtorf retired by Orick at 3rd, 2 away. Everywhere a ball has been, a Red Raiders defender has been as well. And as the chess match evolves, this starts the 3rd time through the lineup, where the 2 biggest producers this weekend for Washington have been number 1 Reynolds and Klingler waiting on deck. They're 0 for 2 today with a couple of walks. And entering this game in their first 2 combined, that duo had gone 8 for 14.
Yeah, not only were they 8 for 14, but 8 for 14 with 4 combined home runs. Actually, scratch that, 5 combined home runs.
One given some life left field. Hamlin underneath, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. In order, Carlin does it easily in the 5th.
If someone comes along and stands in your way, then we know just what to say. Do your thing, just do your thing. So do your thing. Do your thing, just do your thing. So do your thing.
The marquee finale tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, UCLA and Florida State. And UCLA in action, damaging scoreboards wherever you look. Aaliyah Jordan with a solo shot out to right field, giving them a 2-0 lead in the first in their matchup with Texas.
Yeah, I think UCLA was a little frustrated with their 2 losses in a row. Seems like they've been on a mission today.
Here we go in the 6th. That's deep into the hole at short. And it's a leadoff infield single for Ariana Villa. First time today, Texas Tech has the leadoff hitter aboard. What will they do with that?
Yeah, this is a situation. It comes down to execution. If you want to have an opportunity to try and push a run across, I think the best way you're going to be able to do it is, you know, base-to-base advancement, trying to maybe drop a drag bunt, little bunt right here to sacrifice the runner over and get her into scoring position.
You talked about UCLA being on a mission, dropping back-to-back games. Think about what they've done in recent history. It's like, okay, where would they possibly have lost 2 games in a row?
Yeah.
Now, if you take the postseason out of it, because that's how you get eliminated, regular season, first regular season back-to-back losses for them here this year since 2018. It's a picture of dominance. The bunt is foul. Grumbo has the count at 1-1.
Yeah, especially when you think about the quality of competition that they play in the pack. You know, you're going to face Washington 3 times a year, Oregon, Arizona State. I mean, those are some tough games that you got to go and compete against. And the fact that you really don't lose 2 in a row very often says something about your program. But hey, it's the Bruins. It's like the most historic program of all time.
Nobody's got more national championships than UCLA. Surprised they pulled the bunt off there with 1 strike?
No, I think it's the right call. I think now, you know, it's her job still to advance the runner. So no matter what happens, trying to find a productive out at the very minimum.
Good looking swing that curls foul, 1-2. With Plain closing in on 100 pitches here in the 6th. The Red Raiders have made her work today. She'd thrown 18 innings coming into this game this year, 7 hits. Today, they have scattered 5 hits with nobody out in the 6th.
Yeah, coming into today, she had thrown 18 consecutive innings without giving up a run. I mean, that number still holds today, 24 innings, but they're kind of being a thorn in her side a little bit. They're being tough. And we heard from their coach, it's, you know, they're still trying to be gritty at the plate. Just keep being aggressive and trying to put bat on ball.
An experienced hitter here, the grad transfer Grumbo from Loyola Marymount grounds it to 3rd. And the force out at 2nd, so they swap runners. Get the out. Villa is retired. Grumbo on the fielder's choice. And now Blythe, who's grounded into a fielder's choice and walked. Clemson waiting in the wings. They've got 1 more game later on today. They'll take on Wisconsin. Pitch 100 on the day from Gabby Plain. The breakdown of balls and strikes on both sides, it's been a little more lopsided for Plain, as you'd expect, relative to Carlin, the freshman, but it's a prime example of it doesn't matter how you get the job done sometimes, because they've both done the same, and that's held the opposition off the scoreboard.
Yeah, no doubt. I was thinking the same thing in my head. You know, what you get with somebody like a Gabby Plain is that experience factor. You know, she's a grad senior. She's done this before, has just a ton of games under her belt. And, you know, the experience leads to really being proficient with the location of her pitches, so she doesn't really have to miss too big, whereas you feel like Carlin throws a lot more balls off the plate, just hasn't figured out yet how to control the pitches on the border of the strike zone to induce some swing and misses like that one right there.
7 strikeouts for Plain.
Yeah, that ball, not only is it dropping, but it's peeling a little bit away too. I think that's what makes Gabby Plain's movement special is, yeah, it's got the vertical movement down, but it also sometimes will dance east and west as it's breaking on that downward plane.
Well, Gabby Plain found a connection in Seattle. She was at a softball tournament in Queensland, Australia. Her and her dad started talking to the parent of another player who happened to be a Washington grad of all schools, and encouraged Gabby to take a look. So the go-getter she is, sent an email to every coach she could find at Washington. That caught their eyes, as you would imagine. All the way back in August of 2016. Flew out for a visit, no short trip. And it's been a wonderful match for her and the program. A 1-1 deep into the hole. Holtorf will just stick it in her back pocket. Runners at first and second now. As Holtorf has had a few come her way. Well, as fate would have it, the way that Gabby Plain ended up at UW and the way that Demi Elder has found herself in the center of the action today, defensively, and now an opportunity to break this scoreless tie at the plate for the freshman. Grumbo's the runner at second. She's the most important one. Barraza at first. As Elder has waited, bat on shoulder, 2-1. Pitch from Plain. Elder swings. Reynolds gives chase down the line. She's got it. And the inning is over. Still scoreless.
Washington and Texas Tech trying to finish out this game. The Seagulls asking for some runs scored. Come on, we want to see something. He's got a bored bird out there.
St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational, presented by Wilson, is brought to you by Visit St. Pete Clearwater, Florida, and Wilson Fast Pitch, leaders in softball innovation.
Anybody who likes a pitcher's duel is flocking to this game as it's scoreless as we go to the last of the 6th. That Crow undoubtedly feeling some jealousy over those in the Vitacost.com hospitality zone. Getting a great look at the games going on this field throughout the course of the weekend. I'm Mike Cousins along with Caleb Rowe. Texas Tech, 0. Washington, 0. Buckle up. The high-scoring Huskies have been held in check. They went down 1-2-3 in the 5th inning. 20 runs in their first 2 games here in Clearwater today. Just 1 hit. Both teams 0 with runners in scoring position in this game. You get the sense just 1 base hit with runners in scoring position could be enough to separate for a win.
Even looking at that stat page, you know, in the previous 2 games, they're 5 for 20 with runners in scoring position, but they're putting up a ton of runs. So when they are swinging, they're swinging it big. They're getting the big-time home run, the 3-run home run, the 2-run home run to put up big numbers. So wouldn't be shocked to see somebody like a Klingler go yard here to change this game around. And she's exactly who I would look for to get some kind of momentum going for the Huskies. You know, Sammy Reynolds and Bailey Klingler play such an important part of this team. They're leaders at the top of the lineup. They're catalysts. They're going to start that momentum, that energy by what they do in the box in their first few at-bats. And, you know, I don't think it's a coincidence that, you know, the 2 of them are 0 for today, and we haven't seen any runs from Washington. Because on the other hand, they've just torn it up the last 2 games, and Washington scored a lot of runs, a lot of production.
One of the headlines regarding Klingler that Heather Tarr talks about is her constant pursuit of keeping things simple. And you don't have to think about runs here or extra base hits. Just a single, or in this case of a 3-2 count, a walk can be enough to provide opportunity for others.
Go get it, go get it.
She takes the 3-2. Blythe is back, center field. It's gone! Scoreless tie, no more. Bailey Klingler with her 5th home run of the year. Washington 1, Texas Tech 0.
Third time is the charm for Bailey Klingler. You know, you give her something in your wheelhouse, she's going to collect. A little bit on the outside corner of the plate, but you got to love the extension, the arms to be able to stay on plane and stay through that ball. She strokes it out to center field.
Wow, I know we're on the water, and if you walk around enough, you'll see a sandwich board that will probably offer you a seafood catch of the day. But center field, beyond the fence, catch of the day. A lying down in the grass catch. Gold glove, honorary gold glove, the tinfoil gold glove.
They're starting to give gold gloves in the college level. The NFCA is implementing a Golden Glove Award winner.
Well, I'm giving the tinfoil gold glove since it was just for a fan. The low effort version. Boom.
Oh, look at that.
I'll wake you up. Home run certainly has for Washington. Johnson is out, so 1 away here in the last of the 6th.
Good, all right, here we go. Work ahead now. Work ahead here.
You know, going back to Bailey Klingler's home run, you know, the best players step up, and You know, despite the fact that she had a strikeout, or excuse me, a pop-up earlier in this game and a walk, when her team needed her most, she got the job done. And I think now Gabby Plain's gonna have a good opportunity to go and secure the W for Washington now that she's got some help.
Clemson fans hanging out, waiting to see the Tigers in their second game of the day. That gets a good lift out to left center field, tracked down there by Blythe. And now 2 out. That's the beauty of coming to Clearwater. Clemson's going to play at 5:30. They take on Wisconsin in their last game of the day. Take in one of the better pitchers duels that we've encountered. We saw Florida State and Michigan play a 2-1 game earlier today. And this, barring any further offense, will finish a 1-run game, but there's a lot left to be decided. So Klingler is 4 for 9 here in Clearwater. All 4 have been home runs. And Washington could very well win this game and finish with 2 hits. Great response from Carlin after giving up the leadoff solo home run. Back-to-back outs, 3-1 here with 2 away. And that just misses for ball 4. The message is simple. Their refrain from the Huskies dugout is what you said about getting the offense going. Just pass the bat. Get somebody started and let your teammate keep taking advantage. Vandegrift takes above the letters.
Yeah, and you know, softball's such a unique game because there's such an individual component. Like, you go to bat by yourself, but the team is kind of constantly in your brain. How can I help my team? What do I need to do to be effective? Pass the bat down. Give somebody else an opportunity to hit. Yeah, steal a base. Advance so I can put myself in scoring position. Try and push another run across.
Well, the top of the 7th will shape up offensively how the Red Raiders would like to draw it up with the top of the lineup, and that's where their best hitters have been here in the early portion of the schedule. And they've been able to eke out hits across the innings. Ball in the dirt, and Fiedler is there ahead of the throw, and then she's out at third. The explanation comes from Lyndon Baptiste, third base umpire, who calls to the rest of the crew for a collaborative decision.
Yeah, I think the umpires are going to have a discussion. You know, I thought it was pretty obvious and clear that the runner beat the throw, but I think what comes into question is, you know, did she have her feet on the base? I don't think she was expecting a throw as Fiedler didn't slide into the base, and I think that's what gets you called out in that situation, but Heather Tarr not happy with that call.
So their opportunity for an insurance run is wiped away. She goes in exuberantly, yep, and the tag catches her with her feet off the bag. 1-0, last chance for Texas Tech. A tension-filled 6 innings spills over into 7 between Washington and Texas Tech. The Red Raiders in search of their first win in Clearwater, and the Huskies trying to maintain their perfection to open the year, 7-0. Gabby Plain out into the circle, here to start the 7th. Over 100 pitches. The Red Raiders have scattered hits throughout the day. They've not been able to capitalize in the form of a run. The top of the lineup, Abby Orrick, 0 for 3, starts the inning.
Yeah, the Texas Tech team has just been pushing and pushing. Gabby Plain all game long. Just haven't been able to push it over the top to get that run across the board. Have yet to come up with a clutch hit in this ball game. And that's right there is a way to start if you're Gabby Plain. You know, Bailey Klingler comes up in the bottom half, or excuse me, the bottom half of the 6th inning. She gets you a big home run to give you a little bit of run support finally. So you go out and you attack the first hitter you face in Abby Orrick. You pound the zone with 2 strikes right away.
Plain hasn't allowed a run this year, looking to keep it that way. 0-2 to Orrick, and she strikes her out for the 2nd time today, notching her 8th strikeout.
Yeah, Gabby Plain has just been so tough. She's working a lot of her pitches today. She can hit you with that drop ball. She can hit you with a rise ball. She'll throw a curve in every once in a while. That deceptive movement, the heavy drop that falls off the table has just really been tough for Texas Tech to hit today. And she's been consistent, and she's been as good as she's been her entire career today.
So as she looks to go 4-0, this would be a 4th complete game shutout in the first 8 games by Gabby Plain. At the plate, Hamlin's last plate appearance represented one of the better threats today by the Red Raiders. She walked with 1 out, stole 2nd, and moved up to 3rd. But they could not get her home, and Plain is ahead 0-2. Brooke Nelson over from first. The last one to leave with words of encouragement for Plain. The 2-strike pitch to Hamlin. It won't be long to rest for the Huskies after this game. They are just 70 minutes away from first pitch against a team that's going to be eager to get out there and face them and try and score some runs with Oklahoma State. Back-to-back strikeouts. Washington is 1 out away from a victory.
This is the kind of pitching in the last inning that would fire me up as a teammate of Gabby Plain. She's going right after the batter. She's wasting no time. She's throwing strikes early and often, and that's exactly what you want. You want to hold on to that momentum that you just gained from Bailey Klingler, and you want to keep it until you scratch this game as a win on the schedule.
Bailey has been able to solve Plain's equation in this game. A couple of singles for her. Through the middle. 3 hits on the day for Bailey.
Yeah, Ellie Bailey is not going to roll over and let Gabby take this game too early. And she's been so good today, really consistent. You know, sometimes a batter just has your number and sees you really well. And that's Ellie Bailey right there today. A couple hits up the middle. 1 to left field. 3 for 4 on the day. I think the biggest disappointment for your Ellie Bailey, though, is you did have an opportunity with runners in scoring position, and that's the one time she struck out on the day.
That was back in the 5th, so the fate of Texas Tech sits on the shoulders of their cleanup hitter, Maddie Westmoreland. Pinch runner at first, Paige Mindedal.
Have a plane up there. Here we go. Have a plane here, Fort Worth.
One ball, 1 strike to Westmoreland. Plain has gotten her to ground out twice, in addition to a weak fly ball into center field.
Have a plane here. Have a plane. Have a plane here.
From Lubbock to Clearwater, and it'd feel good to get a win against a top 5 opponent here early in the season. Reynolds for a look, with Plain 1 strike away from going the distance for the 4th time victoriously this year.
Here we go, Maddie. Win this one here. Win this big. Win this big, Maddie.
That's a hard shot off of Plain's glove. She chases it down behind the circle, and her throw to first is a game-winning out. A bang-bang play. Westmoreland head first into the bag. She's called out, and Washington's a winner, 1-0.
Man, that ball was hit so hard back at Plain, and that's the only reason she's able to make the out at first. Is a nice job of recovering. And I gotta be honest with you, I thought this was a tighter play than it looked, and I think she might have been safe, but here's the deal. You have to run through. Diving doesn't make you get to first faster. Run through the base like normal, and I think she might have been safe on that.
Plain had allowed 7 hits in her first 3 outings. She scatters 7 today, strikes out 9, and Washington on the strength of only 2 base hits, but importantly, one of those was Bailey Klingler's 5th home run of the year, and that's the difference in a nail-biter down to the very last pitch.
Yeah, this was such a great game, and of course it finishes with some drama. And it's such a close play at first. You can tell the frustration, the disappointment for Texas Tech, but credit to them. They went toe-to-toe with the top 5 ranked team in Washington, but Gabby playing just a little bit too much for them to handle, and Bailey Klingler gets the job done when her team needs it most.
Just moments away from Michigan LSU on ESPN+. Huskies fans, an hour and 5 minutes from their matchup on ESPN+ against Oklahoma State.